morning, and thank you so much for joining the monthly user group tips and tricks. This is Robert Gabriel. I'm going to be your host today. This is my contact information. I want to thank you so much for the business. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Uh, the this is just a disclaimer. Anything you learn today or any other time by me or anybody on the call need to be verified by you, and likewise cannot be held responsible for any loss of data or revenue. The agenda today is the effect of the accept assignment on your Medisoft. Then we're going to talk about the patient balances and the difference between quick balance and a remainder balance. We're going to learn how to transfer balances between the patient and the insurance and vice versa. We're going to talk about the insurance take back and online backup. Then we're going to open for Q&A. Q&A is anything, today's topic or any other topic that you'd like me to show you. What I've been doing is I've been giving you like a tip of the month. So the tip of this month is we're talking about if you're leaving your screen, the quickest way to log out of your Medisoft. So let me just show you that now. So I need to switch to my PC. And so if you logged in with security into Medisoft, you will, whatever name you logged in with, it should show here at the bottom. And one of the ways that to leave your screen is you just click on this, and that will log you out. If somebody comes and try to use your system, they will not be able to get in unless they type their own username and password. If they hit exit, they will be logged out of Medisoft. So now you need to log in again to be able to get back. So that's the tips of today. So what I've been doing lately is I'm trying to keep the continuing education for Medisoft nice and quick, so not overload you with so much training. So try to break it down. So if you have suggestions, an area that you need more training on, let me know. But let me show you what happened. How can you watch this video later on or any other videos that I done in the past? So when you go register for one of our meetings, let me just go here. So if you go to microwise.com, and there's a couple of ways to get there. One is if you go to events and you click on any of the events. No, this is the light tech. Let me click on Medisoft event. So when you click on that event, all the way at the bottom, you're going to see this TV says click to watch. This is all the previous recording sessions, so you can watch them. When you watch them, if this is small like that, just make it large. And if that high definition, depending on your speed, it should pick the best speed based on your screen and based on your internet connection. But obviously the 1080 is the highest definition, and then this, all of that. But depending on if you leave it on auto, it should give you the best resolution. Another place that you can watch the same thing, if you go to microwise.com, let's say you don't have an event to see, but if you go under product and you go under Medisoft, then you click on the training icon. So if I click on the training icon here, all the way at the bottom of the screen, I will see the same training here by clicking on here, the Medisoft best practices. Okay. We also have a full online training academy. So if those are, if you either have like a complete course, send me a message on that. So without further ado, let's get started. So today is I want to talk about the accept assignment and the effect of the accept assignment. If you need to ask a question, you can just push down the raise hand button. That I will see that I can unmute you. To be able to speak, you need to either be connected to a microphone or you need to be dialing through the phone. I am not seeing many of you dialed. I see most of you are calling with the computer. Uh, so to be able to do that, you need to be connected to the phone uh, or a microphone that you can speak. Okay. So the effect of accept assignment. So uh, when you're setting up a case for a patient, so let me take Elmo for example. So when you're setting up this patient, is this patient here is cash. So let's say I'm going to go and start uh, to have a case. Let's say I found out this patient has insurance. So let's say I'm going to create a new case for this patient. So okay, and maybe the insurance is Oxford. And sometimes I like to put the date when Oxford started, but that description is really up to you how you want to do it. And if I choose Oxford here, let's see if I have Oxford. I don't even have Oxford, so let me add Oxford. Okay, and normally when you enter, like it doesn't matter how many Oxford you're using. When you're setting up a new insurance company, I see people have so many Aetna or so many Oxford or so many. If you're sending everything electronically, then it doesn't really matter uh, which one, which address you want. The address is only important if you're sending the claim electronically by paper. But if you're sending electronically, the most important is the EDI receiver. Most of you should know that. And also, I like to have a code. I don't like to make an Oxford payment and an Aetna payment. I think that's too confusing. I like to do insurance pay, insurance adjustment, and if you have a withhold, I don't, see, I don't like to have a different withhold for each insurance company. Those things, the way that we did those things long time ago, you needed to be able to tell which is which. So we trained you on having one for each type of insurance. But now I can have one account withhold for all my insurance company, and the system is smart enough to, or the system get more sophisticated to know which insurance that withholding the money. Now, not many people use the withhold, so you don't have to use that one. But deductible and take back are important. So insurance pay, insurance adjustment. I don't care if you have a withhold or not. Deductible and take back, all of that need to be set up. And also over here, the EDI receiver. Um, Now, I highly recommend the our new EDI receiver. So if you need, you can watch videos on that, or call me. I'll give you more information about that. So the depending the on your EDI receiver, the clearinghouse that you're sending, you need a pair ID. So I'm just going to use our internal EDI receiver here. I'm able to look up the pair ID. Um, Over here. So I'm just typing here Oxford, and my number is here 6480. And so this is, most of you know that already. And if you should know that you can also send secondary claim electronically, and most of the time it is the same ID 6485. Okay. So now let's go back. So I just added Oxford here because I happened to pick Oxford. And this is the accept assignment that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to show you first what happened if you don't have that accept assignment on. So the accept assignment is the area that I see most people are making mistakes and not able to get their balances correct because they've never been trained correctly on the ramification of accept assignment. So accept assignment has two meanings. Inside Medisoft, accept assignment means that the patient is responsible for the charges from day one. I don't care if they have insurance or not, the patient is responsible. And the second, meaning for this, it's your relationship with insurance company, and each insurance company is different. So most insurance company, when they see you're accepting assignment, they're supposed to send a check to you. Okay. Now, some people, say that when you accept the assignment, the insurance company will send you less money, but that's really not, I'm not going to discuss that today. But if this is true, sometimes if the check goes to the patient, you're never going to see that money. So I would rather take a little bit less money and get my money directly to me. And accept assignment has nothing to do with if you are a network or not. Blue Cross Blue Shield, they play games. If you're not a network, and regardless if you accept assignment or not, they'll send a check to the patient. So if you have any question on that, please raise your hand or type me the question. If you don't have access to a phone or a microphone, just type me the question, I'll read it. So let's just come up here and let's do 99213, and I'm just going to do a round of $400, and let me just take a simple ICD-10. So watch what's going to happen to this balance here. So this patient balance came from cash. I had a 225 before. So when I save this, now this visit here, so this line here is for this visit. So this visit, I have a $400 charge. I have a $400 balance. I didn't accept the assignment. So how is that going to affect the quick balance? So to know what the patient need to pay you, it is this icon right here, which is called the quick balance. So this quick balance, it shows you that, okay, there was 225 from before. I just added $400. Even that patient has insurance, that balance became a patient balance right away. So this will affect a couple of things. It will affect, of course, the quick balance. And the other thing is if I ever printed a remainder statement. So a remainder statement will only show you the patient responsible portion. So let me talk about that because that's where most of the confusion comes from. So if I come to my statement management, and if I hit create statement and I choose remainder balance, I put a negative amount here just in case if you want to see if a patient has credit. And if I go ahead and process those remainder statement, so there's one statement that was processed or just got created, and I'm looking for Elmo. Okay, so Elmo is somewhere in here. Where is it? It should be the last one, 65. So this is probably, this is I think this is the patient. Okay. So if I print all the statements, so if I have print sent, if I choose, I highly recommend Build Flash if you don't know yet. If I choose, if you're doing your own statement, this is my favorite remainder statement. So it says remainder statement with balances and deductible. If I hit OK, and I run those statements here. So one of those patients, let me look for today's date's patient. So over here, this is Elmo. Okay, so this is the new $400 charge. So even that patient has insurance, but because I didn't accept assignment, that this is going to become patient responsibility from day one. It affects two things. It affects my quick balance and affect my remainder statement. But what happened if you made a mistake? What happened if you were supposed to accept the assignment. It shouldn't show up on the patient statement. So let me delete this statement, and I'm going to redo it again. So let's see here. So was the statement. Let me check. I think this was the statement. Yeah, this was the statement. I'm going to delete the statement now. Then I'm going to go back to Elmo's account. And I'm going to go and edit this case, and I'm going to mark accept assignment. Because this happens after the fact, of course, you're going to get here. The changes to the accept assignment will affect transaction from now on. It will not affect the previous transaction unless you do this. If you do something like that, you need to click on update all at the bottom here. So when you do update all, what that does, it will take whatever you did in the case and reflect it on the old transaction. So how do I know it worked? So when I hit save, well, you don't need to hit save. If I click on quick balance, right now, see here, my $400 is gone. And this also, the quick balance is also an indication of how much the patient, if you print a remainder statement, whatever shows up here should print on your remainder statement. So if I go back and created the remainder statement for Elmo, the 400 should not be there. So if you ever confused about what would show up on the remainder statement or not, okay, just do your quick balance, and whatever is here should be reflected on the remainder statement. That's the rule of thumb. If it doesn't, there's something is wrong. And I mean remainder statement. Okay. So what happened now is after you do this, when to pass that responsibility to the patient, you need to receive a payment or an adjustment or a rejection from the insurance company. So if you've not been doing it that way, I want you to learn this way. So if I come here, I think I might have a question. So no, there's no questions. So when you come up here, you come here and you say, it's an insurance payment, and the check number is 1234, and the insurance company was Oxford. And see here, all those payment code come up because I set them up when I did my my insurance setup. So if I receive $200, okay, and I hit save, then when I come here and apply, and I will go bring Elmo as my patient, the 400 comes up here, and let's say there's $200 was paid, and the other $200 went toward the deductible. So if this is what happened when I hit save, so going back to this patient, okay, so if I go back to Elmo, what's going to happen now is if I do a quick balance, guess what's going to happen? The quick balance now is going to reflect $425. The $225 that I started with, and the $200 that was added to the patient because they didn't pay the whole $400 because $200 went toward deductible. So let's see how this looks on a statement. So if I close this and I go to statement management and I process statement again, remainder, I create. So I have one statement for Elmo that was created, and it's number 165. If I have print, send, electronic, and I'm going to choose this one again, patient statement. No, I want remainder statement. Remainder statement, all payment and deductible. I like that one. And if I do run this one, let's go to Elmo. So here's Elmo. So here's what happened. I have a $400 charge. So this $225 is there when the patient didn't have insurance. So let's just focus in this area here. So this is today's date, 9/9/2013. I charged $400. The insurance paid $200, and $200 went toward deductible. So the patient owes $200. Okay, I think this is very clear to send it. And now this here, remember my case description? It showed up here that in April 2016 I added Oxford, and this was just cash. Okay, so this was the patient had cash, and this is when the patient had insurance. So, um, any questions on that? Right. The other thing that you should be able to help you to troubleshoot transactions, and so if I go back to Elmo here, I so this is the quick balance. The quick ledger should also show you what's open. So if I do this and hit view the open items only, so this is the 4 transactions that came when the patient was cash. This is the line item from today's date. And if I want to see what happened with this, if I click payment detail, so I see here that Oxford paid me $200 and $200 went toward deductible. So this is how 400 minus 200, I have a $200 balance. So sometimes this works much better than trying to troubleshoot your balances from here. I also highly recommend to have your document number turned on, because when you do that, I'm able to, each time the patient comes in, I'm able to get a different document number with all the charges are on top and any payment and adjustment at the bottom. Watch this. So when I switch to today's date, I have my charge here. I see all my payment and adjustment from here. I highly recommend to use this $sign to receive your payment, and I highly recommend to use a quick balance and a quick ledger. So this is the basic component of understanding the patient, what affects patient balances, accept assignment, and when you receive payment, transferring it to the patient is now behind the scene. When I receive my $200, this complete button went on by itself, and because that complete button went on, it passed that other $200 to the patient balance. I also recommend that, I like to see my remainder balance here and my claim number here. When you see claim number 0, means that claim never went out or didn't get processed. Uh, the remainder is how much remaining on that. If you don't see any of this and you like to see it, you click on the black dot here, you hit add field, and you can those are all the available fields for you. And you should know that whatever caption you have here is whatever is going to say here. So if you don't like to say claim number, you like to make that something else, you just go down here and change this to something else. So let's say if I wanted to make it short and I don't want to have a space, so if I do that, it will just do it like that for me. Okay. So let's go back to the agenda and let's see what's else on the agenda. So we talked about the patient quick balance and remainder balance. We talked about transferring the balance to the patient responsibility when you receive the payment or the adjustment, or just to receive 0. If you receive just 0, it's the same thing, but you gotta make sure that complete button is on. Now we're going to talk about insurance takeback. So let's say the Oxford comes back and took away the $200 and want to give it to a different patient, or let's say they took away $100. So how to do that? So going back into Medisoft here, I didn't change anything, so I'm not going to save. So let's say Oxford comes back and they were supposed to give you $500. Let's say they were supposed to give you a $100 check, but they took away $100 from Elmo and gave it to somebody else. So instead of giving you a check for $100, they give you nothing. So the way to record that is you hit new and you go here and you say, they give me nothing, and it's Oxford. I do have a take back amount here. So they give you, this is called an EOB only. So I'm going to apply and I'm going to use Elmo again. So I'm going to come here and say, I don't see the charge here because this got paid and it's done. But let's say they found out that they made a mistake and overpaid you. So you come here and you turn this off. So now I get to see the charges that I did. So I had a $400 charge. It has a remainder of $200. Now this I started with a zero balance. So if I come here and I added $100 and I save this, so what's going to happen is you have $100 now to apply to somebody else. So let's see what happens here to Elmo's charges. So this is an adjustment now to Elmo. If the system added $100, they took away $100. So now instead of the patient had a balance, let's talk about the visit only. So I charged $400. They paid me $200, but they took $100, so came as an adjustment. So take back is a positive adjustment. So instead of this visit before had a $200 balance, now it has a $300 balance. So that's what a take back does. So that EOB is supposed to have $100 that to be applied to somebody else. Now there was a bug. There's a bug in the system in version 20 that when I received that, this here should have read $100. If your EOB is only one line item, okay, I found that bug happens. If that EOB was more than one item, this here should have been $100. Okay, so I can just force it to be $100 now. So I have $100 to apply, and now you can go and apply the $100 to somebody else. This should have happened by itself, but because of there's a bug in version 20, you gotta change this manually. So you take that $100 take back and apply. If that EOB was more than one line item, you wouldn't see that bug. Okay. So going back to the presentation. Okay. So we talked about the insurance take back. Online backup, please, please, please do not neglect your backups. You have no idea. I get almost one call per week where people tell me, I thought I was backing up, or I thought that Susie was backing up, or I thought that Michael from the IT company was backing up. Or sometimes people tell us, I thought you were backing up. So unless you have an agreement with us that we do your backup for you, so we have two types of backups. We can do your backup, but you need to monitor it. And we do have a backup where it's not like we do your backup. We give you software to do your backup, and you need to monitor it. Or we have managed backup for you. So we have a managed backup for you for as little as $50 a month, where we can do the backup and monitor it. Or for $14 a month, we can give you an online backup. You can do it yourself. The beauty about the online backup, it's going to happen by itself. You don't need to do anything. It will just happen. Doesn't matter if you didn't log out of your Medisoft. It doesn't matter if somebody forgot to do the backup or not. It will back up for you unless you shut down the service, because that service, and that's where the managed does, because we are looking at it every day and telling you. So if we have a $14 a month for online backup and you get to monitor it yourself, or for $50 we back it up and monitor it for you. Please do not neglect your backup. Make sure you have a backup. If you're a billing company and you have multiple practices, it becomes a lot more crucial, because the way Medisoft works with backups is cumbersome. You have to go to each file and back it up. And the other big mistakes that usually happen, you have your cousin, you know, or your nephew that is computer genius. They set you up with a backup, but they don't know. They're not a Medisoft certified. They don't know how Medisoft backup works. Medisoft doesn't work with every backup, so sometimes backup software that people go get on their own or their IT company did for them is not been certified by us or by Medisoft, and they think it's a backup is backup, but when you try to restore it, it doesn't work anymore. Do yourself a favor. Do not become a statistic. Uh, Talk to me or talk to any of MicroWise consultant about your backup, or ask me. I'll send you a brochure on it. So that brings us to just any questions you might have. Uh, Again, this session has been recorded. I'll make it available just like I showed you before. So if you have a question, please raise your hand. If not, good time flies fast, and I appreciate taking the busy time out of your busy schedule. So uh, I'll hold for like a minute if you have questions. If not, uh, you can contact me back. Let me put my contact information. This is my contact information. You just send me a suggestion about future seminars or future topic, or you can just send me out, what's your question. I'll do my best to attend. The other place where you can post questions or find answers, if you go to microwise.com, and if you go under the forum here, you need to log in for the forum. But if you go to look at people's questions and answer, you don't need to log in. You don't need to have like a login. But um, if you want to post a question, then you need to log in. So this is all the questions, and this is all the responses. So if I want to, talk about Encoder Pro, so I can just click here and see what people are asking about Encoder Pro and what's the answers. So if you post your question here, maybe somebody else can answer the question, or I can answer the question, or you can email me the question. But if you don't have support, I would please post it here and have somebody from MicroWise respond, or maybe sometimes customers, they help each other and respond to it. I don't see any hands going up or any questions. So I want to thank you so much for your business. I want to thank you for taking the busy time out of your schedule. I will post this seminar by the end of the day, and have a wonderful day.